Second one.
Oh,
So I got this beautiful whiskey from our friends came over the other day,
oh, you sent me that picture, yeah.
and we did like a whiskey flight. That was only one of like 4 bottles, and we did a flight. So we wanted to try different ones. So we had Knob Creek, we had something basil,
Knob
which I
Creek is
forgot the name.
solid for old fashioned, all that.
Oh,
I love Knob Creek. It's
I
almost I
liked it.
love it because it's not the highest of
I
the
liked it.
highest, lowest. It's like that nice middle. Where you can do anything with a Knob Creek. I love
But
it.
I like the rye version, not the bourbon. Bourbon and
Oh,
rye
I like
is
the
got a very
bourbon
different
version
taste.
though, because
Yeah.
the sweetness bourbon I know has a little more of that sweetness. Yeah.
It
You
has a
had Japanese
higher
whiskey, by the way, before?
yes, to answer your
Solid.
question. I would say bourbon is more higher ethanol, which gives you that burn. Rye gives you that smooth finish. That's why I
Mm.
like rye whiskey. I
Yeah,
love rye
I
whiskey.
would describe it the opposite, but you might be right. It might be my taste buds, but I see what you're saying. Cheers
Anyways,
to that, man.
I cheers. Cheers. We're here. What you got today? What you got today? It says drinks with a nobody, baby.
Vitamin D and zinc, baby. We out here.
Cheer,
Yo,
cheer.
welcome everybody. Drinks to the nobody, man. Thank you everybody
Travis
for
is
joining.
in the building. Travis.
Oh,
Cheer,
what up?
cheer.
What up?
Felicia's in here. Trish is in here. Who
Okay.
else? Where's the rest of the core? We miss Chrissy. We miss her. We miss her. She's been busy lately, by the way. She let me know. She's been busy.
Word.
Who else are we missing? Julie. Julie's been out.
Oh, Julie's always in the house, yeah.
We also missing Brandon, which I've lost somewhat of credibility with Brandon because some of the things he starts saying, and I'm just like, okay,
On the line.
I had enough already.
Yeah, you were patient enough, man. You
I tried.
Test. I know you try. I know you, so I'm like, all right, this man is on it. He's trying.
Did you see how crazy it got with Marlon? Like Marlon, like he really went out. He also got blocked by Karen today, by the way. Aunt Karen.
Yeah. I heard
He got blocked by her.
Crazy.
It was crazy. Anyways, happy Monday, bro.
Yeah, happy Monday. We out here doing what we do.
And
bro.
it's not just any Monday; it's Martin Luther King Day.
Oh yeah.
Free at last. Thank God Almighty. We're free at last. So let's roll a clip.
Free at last. Free at last.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
That's right. Did you peep one of the ladies there holding an American flag? Did you peep that?
Yeah.
That wasn't Photoshop. They were actually American.
Well, he's talking about the Constitution now, so imagine.
He's
figure.
all about that. He was a constitutionalist through and through. Do you remember what party MLK was? What party was he?
He was definitely to the right. But early on, I would say this.
What's that?
Early on, it is true that he was mingling with socialist ideas for equality. But then as he got more educated, he became more Republican. But his early writing, he does talk about it openly. So
I will remind you, Thomas Sowell was a Marxist. And you remember what Dave Rubin said? What made you stop being a Marxist? This was a famous moment in Dave Rubin's show.
Yeah. What was it he said there? Hold on. Give me 5 seconds if I don't get it. Hold on.
Ready? Come on.
I forgot.
He said, what made him stop being a Marxist? The facts.
Yeah, the facts. The facts.
I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream.
Sit down at the table of brotherhood.
One day, even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream.
This is my favorite part, Savory. This is my favorite part of his entire I Have a Dream speech. It's my favorite part. And I know they like to say that this is a right talking point. This is what the right likes to preach about. But this was, in fact, a man who had virtues and morals. He believed in the creed. He believed in the motto, "In God we trust, out of many one." He believed in the American model. He believed in the Constitution. It's the Constitution that made way for him to be here. That's why he understood this.
Yeah.
My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream.
I gotta give you that.
What kind of prophecy was that? What kind of prophecy was that?
Wow.
First off, he talked about slave and slave owner. He said slave and slave owner will sit at the table of brotherhood. Oh my God. Blew my mind right there. Talk about a man with vision.
The man really had a dream. Like, not to be cliche, but when you think about it, that's a dream that at that time, because of the mentality, right? And I feel like some people are taking that mentality that he was fighting against and have that same mentality times 10, more poisonous now. But that's the same mentality, same problem we have now within the minority communities, what he was fighting against. Remember, he wasn't loved by everybody. There was black people who
hated him.
He was doing.
Malcolm X couldn't stand him. Just like W.E.B. Du Bois couldn't stand Booker T. Washington.
Yeah, exactly.
Because these were real men of liberation. These were real men of freedom. These were real men of progress. That's what I'm saying. Now,
talk about it.
Here's what I said this morning. As if we're Americans are stupid. We know Joe Biden went out and spoke the other day talking about, are you on the side of George Wallace or are you on the side of MLK? George Wallace was a staunch segregationist. And guess what party he represented? You guessed it, Democrat Party. Come on. Do you think we're not going to do our research?
Come on, man.
George Wallace?
Come on, man.
Are you going to...
Let me let people know what this is. Oh, let me let people know what this, when y'all hear us talk like this, not only from experience, but from reality, y'all know what time it is here, man. We just talking for what we've seen historically, what we lived, and what's going on now. It's not that we're geniuses. We're just pointing out what they want you to ignore.
Yeah, very good point, man. Very good point. And it makes no sense to me, honestly. It really baffles me to sit here and talk about this on MLK on the eve. This was a few days ago. This because again, they're talking about voter ID or voter suppression in Georgia. I cover this on my morning live today. Exhaustively.
Yeah.
This is absolutely egregious. We're not stupid. We're smarter than that. And especially minorities. They're smarter than that. And they sit back and they are you on the side of MLK or are you on the side of George Wallace? Why are you trying to cause divide? It makes no damn sense. What say you?
Manipulation. Yeah, it's manipulation.
It's manipulation.
At its best.
It has to be at its core.
You're tugging at something purposely there. It's crazy.
Well, listen, I want to acknowledge our guest here. This is our core. Our core is in here. They're all in here.
Oh yeah,
we have to share our thanks.
Alicia, Michigan, Trish, and for real, that's good. He pointed that out.
Michigan is Travis. He gave me the pass. I can call him Travis.
Oh, Travis in the building. All right, Travis in the house.
He's here.
I like that.
Let's bring out the red carpet for our core. Let's bring out the red carpet.
Y'all been riding with us from our lives to here.
Let's remind our audience what they're tuning into, shall we? Y'all know what time it is. It's Macho in the building with your boy Savory, and you're watching us Drinks with a Nobody on Nobody TV. Thanks for joining us. we're doing a special coverage. We did that special beginning segment there on MLK. We have to pay respects where respects is due. But let's get back to work here, Savory. Let's get back to work. We are two men on a mission. We're two liberty-loving Latinos, and we're on a mission. We need to talk about what happened in the Bronx.
Oh, we're keeping it 100 right now. That's what you're telling me?
Let's keep it 100. Let's do it. I got this clip here of the coverage of the fire that happened in the Bronx, and here's what they say.
In stairwells. This is a horrific, painful moment for the city of New York.
Catastrophe in the Bronx. The deadliest fire in 30 years tears through an apartment building, killing at least 19 people, 9 of those victims, children. Hello, I'm Joe Torres.
And I'm Lauren Glassberg in for Sandra Bookman. A nightmare fire erupts.
Oh, Big Jake in the house.
We want to give a special shout out. Yeah, let's give a special shout out to Big Jake in the house.
I love
Thanks for joining us. He is a great dude. I looked at some of his content there. Couldn't believe what I saw. Check it out, by the way. He put something on there. It's really inspiring. But thanks for joining us, Big Jake. Thanks for joining the big core. We have a core following here that are here watching us. Anyways, what you just saw there on that graphic was this. There was a big fire in the Bronx, and we have to cover it. Being two inner city boys, we have to talk about this because it's a big topic. There are a lot of things going on, and this hits home for me. This hits home for me. I've been talking about NYCHA. I've been talking about affordable housing. I've been screaming from the mountaintops, and something finally came up that we have to discuss. We can't ignore. We can't hide it. I think this should be the sticking point for Democrats.
Yeah. And again, what we're about to talk about now, right? What we're hitting on now is from level of inner city, from government to housing and all that, and that trail that they continue, and that lies that they continue to push, and those conditions. Why? Again, this is key here, people. We've lived it. We know people who live in different projects, different areas all over New York, where we came from. My cousin and Dykeman projects. We got people. So the problem is, this is something we study and dig deeper, but it just affirms what we already knew. You get what I'm saying? We do it to do due diligence, but it just affirms what we believe, man. This is crazy.
Yeah. And this is the point here, folks. If you're watching us, you're just tuning in, you're going to see exactly what our niche is. What happened in the Bronx was a disgrace, but it's not only on the people. Like, we have our sitting mayor made some certain kind of inflammatory statements, which we're going to cover. But this responsibility lies on us as a whole, as a collective. We need to stop thinking that government is the one to solve these problems.
Yeah.
We need to start looking to the citizen. Like I said in my live today, Savory, I said this. JFK, the Democrat, he was a Democrat, right? A far cry of what it is today. You know what he said in his inauguration? It's not what your country could do for you. It's what you could do for your country. A far cry.
That's out the window for Democrats.
Today. Unbelievable. I want to roll this clip here. This is the majority report. I like what they got going on. They lean a little bit more left, but I like what they propose here in some of the discussion that they had just recently on their show, The Majority Report.
That could have been prevented, frankly. Here's let's play this clip, and then Emma, you could talk about what is being reported about this building. Here is our new mayor, Eric Adams, and pretty soon we should be taking bets as to how long he manages to maintain his mayoralty. But here he is at a news conference yesterday in the Bronx.
And if we take one message from this that Commissioner Nigro has mentioned several times.
As soon as
I want to make it very clear, there's some things that we're going to see here that are being discussed that not only do Savory and I agree with, but we're going to tell you how they missed the mark on their coverage. That's why
Yeah.
we believe we're different from them. We're not going to shit on them. Majority Report, we need them. They're a great group. 1.7 million subscribers on their channel for a reason. They're good. They're really good. They lean left. Hey, I don't disagree. I get it. I understand. But they missed the mark fundamentally. And Savory and I are going to cover. You guys are going to see in live action how they missed the mark. What do you think, Savory?
Yeah. It's important to see this because here people get to see, people only hear, especially when it comes to inner cities, the problems from a perspective that's convenient, not from the perspective that's always truthful, man. So,
Woo! Great point. Wow, he came with the heat today.
Close the door. That was embedded in my head as a child watching the commercials over and over again. We're going to double down on that message. My conversation with the chancellor this morning, we're going to send out communications to all of our schools and state that we want our children to receive the same level of reinforcement. Muscle memory is everything. And if we can drill that in, we can save lives by closing the doors, not only in the city, but across the entire globe. This painful moment can turn into a purposeful moment as we send the right message of something simple as closing the door.
Now, this is...
Hey, folks, we have to stop this every now and then so we don't get copyright. But this is absolutely absurd. I want to hear your thoughts really quickly, Savory, on some of the Mayor Eric Adams' thoughts there. Closing the door, having muscle memory to closing the door, insinuating what?
Insinuating that this was a negligence on the tenants. Insinuating that this has nothing to do really with what we're about to get into a bit deeper now, and we can get to, I'm sure they're going to get into that. The actual issues. You see how you ignore the issues and distract people with another one. Can the door play some kind of role? Smoke coming out, of course. But are we going to use this big fire and just ignore the conditions and realities of what these housing projects are? Come on. I guess we are. Yeah.
Great point, because
it's crazy.
Folks, they play on you. You may not be from here. You may haven't been here in 20 plus years, but we live here. I live here. I've been inside these I've been inside these affordable housing. They're terrible. They're absolutely terrible. And I want to make it very clear. We're not going to support the landlord of this building. We're not making the argument or the claim so that you can feel sorry for them. But we don't want you to feel sorry for government, Eric Adams, or anybody of that nature. We don't want you to feel sorry for anyone specifically, other than the fact that government is inefficient and they should be. What we should be doing is taking on ourselves. We should be the ones taking responsibility for these actions.
Yeah.
So incredibly offensive. What he's talking about is, in New York City, there is a requirement that doors to apartments and to enforce regulations that are there for safety. Emma, well, let's hear more about this landlord and exactly what they found here.
Well, so this by the way, it's just a quick aside. It reminds me of when you're in school and they were teaching you about bomb threats and you were supposed to hide under your desk. Like that muscle memory would have saved all of us if a bomb actually was dropped on the school.
She's being sarcastic.
So the landlord was.
She's being sarcastic. If a bomb goes off, being under a desk is not going to save you.
But at least we're moving the right direction now.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So let's see.
So, I'll surmise it after we play it here.
His name Rick Groper. He was on the New York City mayor's transition team for housing, so he's closely associated with Eric Adams here, and
he's on the way. So let's just be clear. He was on the transition team.
I said that right?
Yes.
Okay.
I want people to understand. You don't get on the transition team just because you're an expert at being a landlord.
No, you are a wealthy landlord who wants to remain close to the mayor for reasons like this, where he can deflect blame onto the victims of this fire as opposed to onto you. So.
All right, Macho, can we talk about the real issues now?
We will get to that. I wanted to cover that.
That's
I feel the
wild.
majority, guys, check out the majority report. Check out the rest of that. It's only 8 minutes. Won't take too much of your time. They missed the mark on what we're about to cover.
Yeah,
Is
go ahead.
Rick Groper bought this building. At
Mhm.
the city was begging for people to buy these low-income housing. Why, Savory? Why were they begging to buy it?
That is a great question. I'm gonna tell you why they were begging people to buy this building, and it's common sense. Same reason anyone wants to sell a business, and not when something doesn't go well, right? And they're trying to come out. Check this out right here. The other obstacles to building more public housing. They're talking about New York here. This is an article from the Gothamist. New York City Housing Authority is so strapped it can't even make the basic repairs, thanks to the city and state cutting off operating assistance for the last 15 years. By the way,
Did you
a
say
nuance.
15?
It's crazy. There's a nuance there because now I got to read this next part here because the city has not been able to keep up with repairs, with basic needs, and with any landlord. Let me put it like this: would lose his property, would lose his tenants under that renting condition. It's that simple how you got to look at it. Check this out. But they want, right? This is the second point to here. They
Go
want
for it.
more money, right? Because for 15 years, they haven't been able to pay for anything. So you ask yourself, how are they paying it? Number one, they're not paying it. And number two, right? If they are paying it, they're only paying it when it's an extreme emergency from taxpayer dollars. Check this out. They say, the article says, the money is out there. Check this out. The money is out there. If we assume that building new housing costs $100,000 per unit, levying a $15 billion tax on the city's two richest residents, David Koch and Michael Bloomberg would pay for 300,000 apartments, enough to house 53,000 homeless people. You see, now they're tugging at your emotions.
Oh, so rich people can solve
we
this.
need more money from rich people because we already exhausted the billions and billions and billions of dollars from taxpayers and other business owners. Now let's attack the richest of the richest in New York to go through the same cycle with no plan. Are they going to change
What
anything?
happens when they leave? No. What happens when they leave?
Oh,
So this is them
that's-
shooting
let's
for
talk
the
about that.
stars.
No,
They're
let's
shooting
talk
for the
about what happens
stars.
when they leave.
Yeah, they're shooting for the start. They're hoping for a home run in this report. The Gotham. What if you're wondering what he's reading from? It's the Gotham News or Gothamist. He's reading
Yeah,
from there,
Gothamist.
and it's an inflammatory article in and of itself. Again, you're relying your answer to this problem is rich people, but you're also demonizing rich people in the same sense. Folks,
Mhm.
look at the articles about Rick Groper. Oh, he's a scumbag. Listen, we've already prefaced this at the show. We're not here to come to his aid. We're not supporting his approach. The speculation that I have is that he wants this to be terrible. He wanted this to happen so that he can not only get his insurance to pay these people out, he can get them out of the apartment building, renovate it, and sell it as condos. He can sell it as something nice.
Exactly. And now
I'm
you
not gonna
complain about
support that.
displacement. Macho,
Yeah.
check this out. You complain about displacement in the hood. You want to take money for the rich. The politicians tell you to complain about displacement, but they're the same people you're being that's the reason you're being displaced is by those same people, those politicians you're trusting. It's a cycle that never
It's
ends.
just crazy. I have to play this one slot, and I know you have something. Can you get that ready? I'm going to play this clip for you guys, and then I want Savory to tie this up for you guys in a way that you probably weren't expecting. Probably you know it intrinsically or intuitively, but you're going to know about it firsthand today. It's not going to be speculation anymore. I'm going to play this clip.
100 people gathered in the Bronx for a candlelight vigil for the victims of that apartment building fire that killed 17 people, including 8 children. The smoky fire also injured dozens. Some remain hospitalized in critical condition. New York State Attorney General Letitia James attended the Tuesday night vigil, vowing to get to the bottom of this fire. She told the crowd there's a lesson to be learned about the neglect of government and a lesson to be learned about why this continues to happen in this corner of the Bronx, which has a large population of people of color.
I have to say,
A
here we
large
go.
population of people.
Here we
of color.
go.
All right,
Here
I'm
we
out
go.
of here. Bye. I'm out of here.
No. Is she part of that neglect? Is she guilty of that neglect? By the way, I just gotta ask: is she guilty of that neglect? 8 million documents have been filed by the Trump Corporation because she's investigating the Trump administration. She's been so obsessed about Trump. Is she part of that neglect? A black
doing
woman.
her job. It's not doing her job. Obviously, she's not doing her job. You're busy.
So the
You know what I'm saying?
government's
Like,
not doing their
it's-
job.
Yeah, they're
She's not
their
doing
job.
their job. Eric Adams is not doing their job. De Blasio didn't do his job. What happened here, folks? Why are we still depending on Democrats is beyond me. And if you see this clip that Savory's about to play and you still depend on Democrats, I don't even know how to help our audience
it's
anymore.
beyond you. And before I play this clip, right? This is what Macho's been pressing in on his lives. I've been pressing in on my lives. Is look, it's not when we say it's not about left and right, we're just looking what's in front of us. So the only reason we make it about the left is because the grip and the corruption we've seen. So I tell people, don't talk to me about the other party if we can't face the reality in our own communities. Check this out.
Why were most of you in the mob Democrats when you were in the line?
He's talking to a mob boss right here, just FYI, right? You can know.
Why were most of you in the mob Democrats when you were in the life, but Republican or, independent, center right, whatever you want to call it, once you guys left the life? That's kind of interesting to me. I keep talking to guys where, even Leonetti, even Sammy, some of these guys, well, Leonetti's still on the Democrat. But
by the way, Macho and I, before watching this, already knew the answer to this. It wasn't rocket science to us, right? Because this is the corruption that people are, they're peeling it back. But this is the common sense stuff that we always speculated once we start figuring out what's happening. We lived a lot of this.
But why were some of these guys Democrats when you were in the life? What happened? What changed?
Well, I think with Trump, because Trump is a New Yorker and he's got that way about him, we're attracted to him. For me, it's about his policies, but I won't get into that. But on the street, we hated the...
It's about his policies, right? This is when he's out of the life. But check now what he describes, the punchline here, when he's in the life.
Republicans, because they were the law and order party.
They hated Republicans.
The Democrats were easier to corrupt. Every politician that we knew that we corrupted, they were all Democrats. Every single one.
Unpack that. What do you mean by that?
Guys that we had on a payroll, guys that would do us favors, guys that got me licenses for my gas business, they were all Democrats.
So if you went up to a Republican saying, listen, I need a gas license, what would they say to you? Or did you not even
approach? We didn't do it. We didn't approach
because
it.
You knew
There's
they were
plenty
not...
of Democrats around to do it.
So you
this
had
is in the 80s? When is this?
Yeah, 80s, 70s, 80s, yeah, all the way through.
But dude, the start of the Democratic Party with Tammany Hall and with Boss Tweed, I mean,
You hear that? Is that self-explanatory or self-explanatory? Which one is it? There's nothing to say off that, bro. This is just a reality. It was easier to bribe these politicians, especially in the inner cities, condensed areas, and this is where crime skyrocketed. This is where gun regulation comes, where these people never abide by. This is where you get all these different policies of minimum wage, right? I'm just going over it really quick to give people a bigger picture since we always talk about inner city. But the point is, that is the mentality that we're looking at with the Bronx housing fire, with the government politics, Eric Adams and what's his name? Rick Groper, right?
Yeah.
So that's the people we're looking at and the corruption around it. We don't know all the details yet, right? But it's easier to assume connections in politics because it's all about control and power.
We're gonna do something bit different here on Sip on Fact. Savory, Rick Roper and company is speculated that he has a company and what is it? What are they called? A housing company or like a real estate company, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he bought this housing in 2019 for $166 million. It was first sold. The state sold this building that was on fire for $25 million. They wanted to get it out because they couldn't afford the repairs anymore. They couldn't afford the repairs. Folks, government has failed so bad that they're just throwing this building away. They threw it away. So somebody bought it for $25 million. Somebody reinvested it into it, then sold it again for $166 million. The other thing that Democrat policies don't work is in the last year or so, which we know Rick Roper has been a POS since before that because he's been stifling these residents out on heat. and I'm not coming to the aid or the defense of this guy, but if I leave my heat on right now for longer than an hour at a time at 70 degrees, Savory, my bill's going to be well over $100. Yeah. It's light years different from last year. Last year, our heat bill was like $40, $50. Yeah. This year's well over $100. So I'm over here having to turn the heat off at times because we don't want to pay overall that kind of money. You don't believe me? Let's look at CNN Business News. CNN says this. They wrote this article in 2021, September 21. They said generating electricity have surged more than 180% over the past 12 months. 5.90 per million British thermal units. This is in Britain, and it affected us here as well. Yeah. Natural gas hasn't been this expensive. According to CNN Business News, natural gas hasn't been this expensive since February 2014. We got heating prices. According to the EIA Winter Fuels Outlook, this is in Fox Business News. The average U.S. household is expected to spend an average of $117.34 during the 2021-2022 winter season, if using heating oil to heat their homes up. So basically what I'm saying is it's been up. The percentages are going up. So all I'm saying is if you buy these units, affordable housing, the market value for these apartments are probably $1,700. I looked at the area, $1,800 per unit at a 1-bedroom apartment rate. That's just 1 bedroom. They're probably paying with affordable housing and paying way under the market at $900. How does the landlord have money?
$400 and stuff like that, you know. So
how do they have enough money to pay for the repairs? Well, that's where government funding comes in. So the government's responsible as well. Not only Rick Rupert, the government's responsible, the tenant's responsible, because again, elevate your standards, get the hell out of Dodge. Hey, my thing is charge it at fair market value, every unit in this place, no more affordable housing. And if people can't afford to live here, guess what? There are another 49 states you can figure it out at.
Yeah, or within the state as well. People don't understand it changes by segments, and then you have people buying their own properties, doing stuff. People are afraid to open the market. But to bring this full circle, right?
Go ahead.
Right. So to go off what Macho's saying, we have the housing crisis through NYCHA and the fire in the Bronx that we talked about today and all that. It goes back to one thing. It's a mismanagement of resources and money from the government. So as much as we put responsibility on the landlord, right, because it is his property, remember, when you're taking vouchers from the government, that tenant is now responsible for the relationship with their agent, their government, or whatever. The government is supposed to do yearly inspection. The government is supposed to hold the landlord accountable, but they don't do none of that. Why? Because all they care is about the victory of free housing, and they move about their day and then just give the landlord a check.
And we also show the proof as to why these people vote Democrat. Landlords, billionaires, rich people, they go Democrat. Why? Because the guy said they're easily able to be corrupted.
Exactly.
Folks, do you understand what we're saying?
There's no better way to bring it home like that.
Are not working in New York City. They're not working in the inner city. And you got Letitia James trying to clean this up. This is a lesson to be learned. To be learned, not to depend on government.
So before you say, I'll leave you with this word, before you let people tell you, oh, but these rich people in the city, like you have Bloomberg and Warren Buffett, these people have tremendous business interests intertwined with politics. So they have a lot of these politicians in their pocket, but that's not a capitalistic problem. That's a government overreach problem. Let's be honest, switch the script, and we'll probably see y'all next time as we talk more about this. But appreciate everybody.
See you guys on Wednesday.